take the former vice president. That's I can tell you, you know, and them.
Which, ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure to announce the arrival of the President and Chairman in Council of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a very distinguished Engineer Babagana Mohammed, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Fumi, we'll take it one after the other. We will, because they are doing live transmission. All of us will not be at the stage. Once I leave, I finish, I leave, the next person walks in, so that we leave. The national anthem. We are still standing. Let's take the opening prayer, second stanza of our national anthem. Let's recite together as we say, O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen. Please, can we take our seats? Please, all the photographers in the front, please can the ushers assist us to move the photographers. The President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers, wife of the President, seated beside the President, Ajia Aisha Umar Babagana, a very special guest, the Shehu Obonu, the Royal Father of the Day, His Royal Highness Alhaji Abubakar Ibn Umar Gabai. A very distinguished, also special guest, one of our honorees today, Mr. Azibola Emmanuel Robert, with his amiable wife, Mrs. Stella Robert. Our very distinguished special guest, the immediate past National Security Advisor, a very distinguished Alhaji Sambo Dasuki, here with us, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, our very honorable minister, Malam Mohammed Musa Bello, represented by the director, the executive secretary of the Federal Capital Development Authority, a very distinguished engineer, Shehu Hadi Ahmad, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the president of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Engineer Ali Masuya Rabiu, the executive vice chairman of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Professor M.S. Haruna, the chairman of the board of trustees of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, our past presidents, members of the National Executive Committee of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols duly, respectfully, and honorably observed. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Nigerian Society of Engineers, since its inception on 16 February 1958, has remained committed in promoting the advancement of engineering education, research, and practice in all its ramifications. Played a pivotal role in organizing quality programs aimed at developing the human capacity of its members, sensitization and enlightenment of the public, and provision of quality advice to the policymakers and stakeholders alike. Over the years, the Society has used its engineering conferences to bring together a unique blend of professionals from different disciplines of the engineering profession and other sectors of our economy, the best of the academia and industry, for effective cross-pollination of ideas that would create a fertile ground for transformational development in the engineering profession, practice, and our national growth. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the President and Chairman in Council of the Great and Honorable, the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a very distinguished Engineer Babagana Mohammed, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, I warmly welcome you to this August event, the opening ceremony of the 2021 National Engineering Conference and Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, tagged Co-City 2021, with the theme, Expansion of the Energy Mix for National Economic Growth. It's my pleasure, therefore, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to humbly invite for his welcome address the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a very distinguished Engineer Babagana Mohammed, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers. Can we put our hands together for Mr. President? Welcome, sir. Thank you very much.
The distinguished guests, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Special guest of honor, His Excellency, who is blocked somewhere outside Nigeria. I just had a call from him. Dr. Goodluck Ibele Jonathan, GCFR, GCON. He has sent in his rep. You are welcome, sir. The Honorable Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, who is aptly represented by our own, the newest Executive Secretary, Shehu Hadi Ahmad, FNSC. You are welcome, sir. The Governor of Enugu State, who is our host, Honorable Ifeanyi Ogoyin, the Royal Father of the Day, His Eminence, Alhaji Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbay, the Shehu of Borno, the President of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Engineer A.A. Rabiu, FNSC. Past presidents of NSC seated here in no particular order. Engineer Emeka Eze, Chairman, BOT. You are welcome, sir. Engineer Habu Gumel, past president. Welcome, sir. Engineer Shonobi, past president. Welcome, sir. Engineer A.O. Ajibola, past president. Welcome, sir. Engineer K. Ali, past president. Welcome, sir. Engineer Otis Anyaji, his royalty, and his amiable wife. Welcome, sir, Amma. Engineer Mokolu, FNSC, immediate past president. Welcome, sir. No particular order. The executive, and if I have missing anyone, please. Engineer Honorable Femi, FNSC, it was not intended. You are welcome, sir. The Chairman, National Assembly Commission, Engineer A.K. Amshi. Engineer M.B. Show, Executive Vice President, I kept him at last. He's Executive Vice President and President-elect of the WFU. You are welcome, sir. The President of my sister organizations across Africa, first FAO, Engineer Mrs. Colin Bo Chidid. You are welcome, Ma. The President of Ghana Institute of Engineering, Professor Chas. You are equally welcome. The President of WAFIO, West African Federation of Engineering Organizations. You are Alex Aye. You are highly welcome. My wife, you are the last person on the list, and you are highly welcome. My Deputy President, President-elect, I was trying to put you before my wife, but I refuse. You stay at the back. And your amiable wife, you are welcome. Let me quickly announce the arrival in this hall of the former National Security Advisor of Nigeria, Sambo Dasuki. Sir, you are welcome and you are appreciated. I warmly welcome you all to the 2021 National Engineering Conference, an AGM, exhibition of the 54th Annual General Meeting of the Great and Honorable Nigerian Society of Engineers, tagged Call City. I am particularly honored for the presence of this executive guest here. It is my pleasure to also specifically welcome a statesman who has agreed to be here, but because of international engagement, President Goodluck Ibele Jonathan, GCFR, GCON, who has graciously agreed to be here to talk with us. He is still making efforts to enter this hall today. Sir, I appreciate you very well. Also gracing this with his presence is the show of Borno, His Eminence. Sir, we appreciate you, sir. Captains of industries, execs in the academia, and many other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all. All the fellows of NSC, members of the National Assembly, my colleagues, and of course our spouses who are well dressed here, you are all welcome. My revered past presidents, in no special way, you made the society running. Sir, I appreciate all of you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for the benefit of delegates who are not non-engineers of NSC and invited guests, who may be wondering why a conference tagged Call City is holding in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. It is important for me to give a bit background to the reasons for the change in venue. The Enugu branch of NSC bid for and won the right to host this year's conference in their location, Enugu, the capital city of Enugu State, in the southeastern Nigeria, which is popularly called Call City. The local organizing committee of the branch was making progress with preparations before the spread of political agitations within the entire South Region zone increased and escalated into violence in some areas. Following concerns for safety and security raised by NSC members across, the leadership of NSC went into high-level consultations. A consensus agreement was reached to relocate the conference to Abuja, while still organizing Enugu as the host. The NSC Council gave approval for the relocation at its meeting of September 16, 2021. I want to assure you that despite the change in location, the Conference Planning Committee and the reconstituted Local Organizing Committee have worked tirelessly to ensure that this conference is delivered smoothly. Few innovations were injected into the processes for ease of registration, identification, election, and participation in the exhibition. Above all, maximum security is hereby guaranteed. Over the years, NSC Engineering Conference have evolved progressively as the quality of papers approved for presentation dwell on subjects that reflect global trends and yet adaptable to the local experiences in Nigeria. Therefore, these conferences are not only enhance the professional competence of Nigerian engineers, but also contributed to the growth and development of technology in Nigeria, and consequently, concurrently, the well-being of our countrymen and women. Following the same direction, the selected theme for the 2021 National Engineering Conference is the expansion of the energy mix for national economic growth. Dear colleagues and delegates, the quest for clean energy has taken the center stage in the affairs of nations all over, while Nigeria is still largely relying on hydrocarbon fuels as source of energy, with the hazardous effect that they bring. The developed nations have moved on to the future with clean, renewable energy. The Nigerian State of Engineers at different advocacy forums over the years has consistently clamored for cohesive coordination and transparency in the transformation of the energy sector. It gladdens my heart to see that steps are taken at different levels to galvanize efforts to the achievement of that goal in Nigeria. The technical sessions of this conference promised to be inciting, and the Secular Subcommittee has done a thorough job of selecting papers for the main conference team, as well as various sub-teams, all dwelling on energy solutions for Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, in the pursuit of the objective of collaborating with government to galvanize accelerated development for Nigerian citizenry, I am pleased to inform that our administration made some modest achievement in certain critical vibrant advocacies. Thus, the society produced a memorandum on the proposed amendment to the 1999 Constitution. The NSC delegation presented the memorandum in 12 venues across 6 geopolitical zones. I need a clap here. Thank you very much. The NSC set up a powerful lobby group led by the chairman of the Engineering Legislation Committee, Engineer Sir Chris Okoye, FNSC, to work towards achieving passages of all pending engineering bills in the National Assembly. As we speak, the Road Sector Reform Bill, the National Assembly Fund, and the Federal Road Bill have been passed and transmitted to the President and Commander-in-Chief for his assent. Thank you very much. NSC has also prepared a memorandum and is awaiting a date for public hearing on the bill for amendment of Nigerian Building and Road Research Act for presentation to the Senate. Many I don't want to mention. We have awarded scholarships to 16 most intelligent 2020 UMI students who said they want to read engineering. We have given them a scholarship, 16 million naira to all of them. We have given government and this NCDC 10 million naira, Nigerian engineers, as our contribution to the fight towards COVID-19. We have given government across Nigeria at different states of the federation hand marks, hand sanitizers, face masks for distribution to public in our quest to fight COVID-19. These are things we don't want to mention. We have uplifted our secretariat. Our secretariat is now world standard. You can visit our secretariat, you see our secretariat, it is world standard. At this juncture, permit me to appreciate the 2021 Conference Planning Committee, led by Engineer Etido Iyang, FNSC. You have done very well, and you made us proud for the great job they have done in putting all the plans together for this big event. Also supporting from the background are the hardworking staff of the NSC. I appreciate you all. On this note, I welcome you all to Call City 2021 and wish you a peaceful celebration and memorable stay in Abuja. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all.
Can we put our hands together one more time for the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, FNSC, FNI Meki. I would like to quickly recognize the presence of the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan, GCFR, ably represented by Chief Mike Ogahe Gode, CFR. Let's put our hands together for him, please. We'll also quickly like to recognize the presence of the former governor of Ogun State, Otumba Benga Daniel, FNSC, FNR Maki, ably represented by Brigadier General S.A. Shogunuga, retired. Let's put our hands together for him, please. We'll be going into the conferment of fellowship. And I would like to Before we go into the conferment of fellowship, I would like to quickly recognize the presence of the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Audu Sule, FNSC, who is ably represented by Dan Lawal of Lafia, Alhaji Mustafa Yauza. Let's put our hands together for him, please. I would like to invite to the podium for the honorary fellowship conferment the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, FNSC, and I would also like to bring to the podium the Chairman, Board of Fellows, Engineer Mrs. Obele Okeke, FNSC, to come for the conferment of the fellowship. Let's put our hands together as Mr. President comes to the podium. Thank you very much. Can we have the Chairman Board of Fellows come on stage, please? Can we have Engineer Professor Sali, FNSC, come on stage to represent the Chairman Board of Fellows of the Nigerian Society of Engineers? Is he here? Or you could just come up and call him.
Can Engineer Victor Adenuga please come up here in the absence of Professor Sali?
While we're expecting the representative of the Chairman Board of Fellows, will be while we are expecting the representative of the Chairman Board of Fellows, Engineer Mrs. Ebele Okeke, FNSC, Engineer Isa Imiabino, FNSC, will be coming on stage to represent the Board of Fellows. While we have technical, let's have in preparation the citation of the Shehu Oberno.
Okay, so you're free. Go ahead with the introduction of the name. This is the name, so just go ahead with it. Okay, go ahead. It's the same thing, just go ahead. This is the name.
Mr. President, sir, it's the honor and privilege of the Board of Fellows of the Nigerian Society of Engineers to present to you His Eminence, a highly distinguished member of the Nigerian Society. I would want to employ the media to begin to play the citation of His Eminence. I'm sure the citation is already with us. Please, I want to employ the media to begin to play that citation. And I will humbly request His Eminence to please come to the podium where the ceremony will be conducted. Meanwhile, I would like to invite Engineer Mohammed Kabir Wanuri, FNSC, to please come forward and read the citation of His Eminence. You help us with the citation.
Where is the citation?
I'll just give it to you.
Mr. President, sir, may I read the citation of His Eminence the Shehu of Borno, Alhaji Dr. Abubakar Umar Ibn Garbay, El Amin El Kanemi, CFR. Shehu Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbay El Amin El Kanemi, the son of Abubakar Garbay El Amin El Kanemi, the 18th Shehu of Borno, was born in 1957 in Damagum town of the present Yobe state. His Royal Highness the Shehu of Borno attended Gambaru Primary School, Maiduguri in January 1964 before proceeding to Government College, Maiduguri to complete his secondary education in 1975. After his tertiary education in Kaduna Polytechnic and in-service training, he further pursued master's degree program in public administration in the University of Maiduguri and was awarded the degree in the year 2005. Between 1997 to 2001, he served in 5 local government areas as secretary. He also served as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Works and Housing, and later permanent secretary, Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in August 2008. In November of the same year, he was appointed the district head of Magumeri in Borno State. On the 2nd March 2009, he was appointed as Shehu of Borno and the traditional investiture of Bayatu, as in Kanuri we call it, took place on Wednesday, 4th March 2009. The Shehu of Borno was officially presented with the staff of office as the first-class emir and the chairman Borno State Council of Chiefs on Sunday, 31st May 2000. And the ceremony was witnessed by very important personalities and over 120 emirs and chiefs across the country and neighboring countries of Chad, Cameroon, Niger, and Sudan. The Shehu of Borno is the Deputy President General of the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs and Jamaatul Nasr al-Islam of Nigeria, and also Chairman Jamaatul Nasr al-Islam Finance and General Purpose Committee. He is a member of the Interreligious Council. He has attended various national and international conferences and workshops across the country. His Royal Highness was awarded Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, CFR, in 2011 by the federal government, and has also been awarded different honorary degrees in the 3 prestigious institutions across the nation. Despite the insecurity in Borno, he has remained committed, dogged toward restoring peace in the state. As the Shehu of Borno, he dedicated most of his effort toward restoration and preservation of the rich culture, heritage and tradition of his kingdom, and to open up the tourism potential of the state. Well-traveled, His Royal Highness is the grand patron of over 300 educational institutions, union, club, and non-governmental organizations and associations across the country. His Royal Highness, the Shehu of Borno, is married and blessed with children, and his hobbies include horse riding, traveling, and hunting. That's the end of this. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, sir, it's now my special honor and privilege to place before you the distinguished eminence the Shehu of Borno for the award of the Honorary Fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Mr. President, sir.
Thank you very much. I, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, by the grace of God and the common will of Nigerian engineers, the President and Chairman in Council of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, by the powers vested on me, I hereby confer on His Eminence, the Shehu of Borno, Honorary Fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Congratulations, sir. Say thank you. Say thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم. Mr. President and other members of the delegations here present, I must begin by expressing my sincere thanks and appreciation to Mr. President and all of you here for honoring me. In fact, this is a great honor. The honor is not only for me alone, but the entire people of Borno, Northeast, and Nigeria in general. I assure you that I will live up to expectation and keep the flag flying. On behalf of myself, once again, my family, and the good people of Borno, I sincerely thank you very much. I wish you, each and every one of you, safe journey back to your respective destinations. Thank you very much.
the president also. With the president.
Only two of them with the president. Who?
The palace. We need portrait. So please, be very well. Okay.
Women engineers.
I think the deputy. Yeah, with national airport.
Ah, madam, yeah. I'll call the first lady. Madam, you're not taking it. Aranya bahan mau bono.
No, that's it.
Yeah, next one. Next one. Second one. Robert.
My president, sir.
Yeah.
We also have a very distinguished member of the Nigerian Society that we have considered due for the Honorary Fellowship of Nigerian Society of Engineers. It's now my honor and privilege to invite to the podium It's now my honor and privilege to invite Azibola Emmanuel Roberts to please come to the podium. We will advise that you come along with your spouse, please. Engineering is a family affair. So if your spouse is here, please come along with your spouse. I will want to advise the media to please play the citation. Well, I'm informed that the citation is ready with the media. Please, can you play the citation? We don't need to read it.
Azibola Emmanuel Robert, Managing Director, Kakata Group, Founder, Z-Team Engineering. Born 13th February 1969 at Otakeme in Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State. Azibola Robert is the fifth child of his mother, Madam Irene Yepae Uriah, who raised him and his siblings as a single mother. By an unlikely event of ever going to school, Azibola completed primary school at Baptist Day School, Port Harcourt, and by miracle proceeded to attend secondary school at Owema Secondary School, Otakeme, where he rose from a not too bright boy to become the best student of his class and the entire school, excelling in all science subjects. considering his high intelligence quotient in the sciences, it was the expectation that he will someday become an engineer or a medical doctor. Rather, Azebola had a twist of fate, which led him to read law at the Rivers State University of Science and Technology, Port Harcourt, where he graduated with a third-class degree in 1993 and a second-class LLB from the then Nigeria's only law 1995 as a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. After a moment of practice, he resumed duty call as a pro-democracy, human and environmental rights advocate against military rule in Nigeria at that time, where he joined forces across the country to fight and win the soul of Nigeria to democracy. While in the university, Azebola was a student leader and the vice president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS. On Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, Azebola left active civil society advocacy and founded Mangrove Tech Nigeria Limited, a civil engineering company which today is known as Kakata. The sole aim of founding Kakata was to challenge an established notion that Nigerian engineers were incapable of administering and building the infrastructures of Nigeria. He thus created the slogan, "Nigerians Building Nigeria," as part of his advocacy for the Nigerian engineers, and proceeded to employ only Nigerian engineers to build both the Maitama Extension and the Kiami districts in Abuja, among several other projects across the country. In 2018, Azebola Robert founded Z-Teen Engineering, a precision engineering, high-end technology and heavy-duty company, and proceeded to build a state-of-the-art factory in the Idu industrial area of Abuja. With its array of machines and equipment, today Z-Teen prides itself as Nigeria's precision engineering company, with a focus to kickstart and advance Nigeria's technological development. Through its various companies, Azebola Robert has employed several of Nigeria's engineers over the years, providing them mentorship and kindling in them a desire of the I can do spirit. Today, Azebola Robert, together with his colleagues, is consummating himself to the self-task of designing and producing a wholly made-in-Nigeria automobile engine, pioneering a domestic electric car design and production, as well as catalyzing the process of making other heavy-duty machines and original spare parts production in Nigeria for Nigeria. Azebola is a social thinker, a practical hands-on personality, an inspirational writer, a creator of things, and one who prides himself as the carpenter. He has a vast practical knowledge of many aspects of engineering, such as civil, electrical, electronics, hydraulics and high-pressure systems, aerodynamics, CNC machining, portable circuit boards, and more. He is a genius at operating machines, including cranes, excavators, dozers, articulated trailers, CNC machines such as lathes and milling, plasmas, water jets, and more. He is a software enthusiast, including website designs. Azebola Robert is an inspiration to those who work with him and as follows. While pushing through his passion for Nigeria's engineering and technological development, Azibola has remained true to his goal for the environment, protection of wildlife, and commitment to climate change. He is married to Stella Robert, and together they have 4 daughters, Yepae, Zoni, Emanuela, and Azibaswa. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Azibola Emmanuel Robert.
Mr. President, sir, we present to you the distinguished icon that has been a mentor to so many engineers. He has engineered the engineers, and the NSC today finds him fit to be considered for the award of the Honorary Fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We therefore present Emmanuel Robert for the award. Mr. President, sir.
Thank you very much. Robert, you are ready for me, Robert. I, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, fellow Nigeria Society of Engineers, by the grace of God and the common will of Nigeria engineers, the President and Chairman in Council of the Great and Honorable Nigeria Society of Engineers, by the powers vested on me, I hereby confer on you, Mr. Robert Azibokala, the Honorary Fellowship of the Great and Honorable Nigeria Society of Engineers. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Madam. Congratulations, madam. Thank you very much.
You can go and take your pictures.
Can I take your pictures now? Let's take a picture. Mayoga, this is Robert. Come forward. Come forward to see. Come out and be seen. Yeah. Yes. I think that's. Come out. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we can go right?
We can go.
Yeah. Who is the next?
No, he's on. No, that's on.
He's on?
That's on.
No, first. Who is taking again?
No, those ones are what?
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate the honorees, please. Let's appreciate the honorees. Before we go to the next item, let me also add that Mr. Zibola Robert has, no, they will be invited, has contributed a lot to engineering. Apart from what we saw here, the motto of his company, Kakata, is Nigerians building Nigeria. He believes so much that it's only Nigerians that can build Nigeria. And that's why he has empowered so many Nigerian engineers in his company and has paid them what is commensurate with what expatriates are paid in Nigeria. I think that's a very big, he deserves a very big applause for that. Let me, in a very special way, you know, Mr. President, when he was presenting his address, informed us that the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria from 2010 to 2015, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was supposed to be here with us. But because he traveled to Guinea and he has been on his way back to Nigeria, he couldn't arrive as scheduled. He has sent a very senior member of his cabinet when he was in office, the chief of staff, to the office of the president, Asiwaju Mike Ohiadome, commander of the Federal Republic, to represent him. He's here in our midst. And Mike Ohiadome is also a former deputy governor of Edo State. Let's put our hands together for him, please. Let's appreciate him. Just seated beside him is another heavyweight in the engineering profession, the founding chairman of the Raw Material Research and Development Council and former chairman of FEMA. Many of us are conversant with his name when we talk about the Wanyangu National Football Club, one of the biggest football clubs in this country. It's my pleasure to acknowledge the presence of a very distinguished engineer chief, Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Iwanyangu, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, member of the Federal Republic, officer of the Federal Republic, and of course, Commander Order of the Federal Republic. Let's put our hands together for him. Also, we have in our midst, past president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He was president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers for the years 1998-1999. A very distinguished engineer Charles Aniweta Mbanefo, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Nwamolonama Onitsha. You are welcome, sir. Also, he came with his wife, Mrs. Irene Mbanefo. You are welcome, ma. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the president of the Association for Consulting Engineering in Nigeria, Engineer George C. Okoroma. You are welcome, sir. And also we have in our midst Chief Uche Chris, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. You are welcome. Let me also acknowledge the presence of Engineer Ife Oluwa Oyedele, Executive Director, Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, and also another Executive Director in the company, Engineer Abdul Kashim. Let's put our hands together for them, please. Quickly, I want to recognize the presence of His Royal Highness King Bubaraye, Dakolo of Betuame Kingdom. He came all the way from Bayelsa to join us in this program. It's also my pleasure to acknowledge the presence of Chief Sonny Omekwe, Chairman of Otakeme Council of Chiefs, Bayelsa State. Let me also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Adolphus Ekpe, former DG of Nigeria Lottery Regulatory Commission. We also have His Royal Highness Eze Ken Onwala, Ugowan of Eche Land. He is also here with us. I think that's all we have for the recognitions. With that, it's my pleasure to invite my co-director of program, Engineer Emmanuel Ejika, to take us to the next item we have in our program. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ben. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we'll quickly continue to our program. And next on the item on our program list is a very special event that will be anchored by the president of the society himself, and that is presentation of special NSC Presidential Awards. Please put your hands together as we invite the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, to take care and present these awards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This for who?
Award of Excellence.
Okay. All commissioners in Borno State, please come forward. This is award for His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, Engineer Babagana Umar Zulum, FNSC, MNI. Branch Chairman, Maiduguri Branch, all the commissioners, please come out. This is presented to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, Engineer Babagana Umar Zulum, FNSC, MNI, a recognition of infrastructure development in Borno State and support to the engineering profession. Congratulations, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Next. This is an award of excellence to His Excellency, Dr. Goodluck Ibele Jonathan. This award is presented to His Excellency, Dr. Goodluck Ibele Jonathan, GCFR, former President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, in recognition of his continuous support to the growth of engineering in Nigeria. Congratulations, sir. This is an award of excellence presented to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ebonyi State, Engineer David Nwezi Umahi, FNSC, FNAT, in recognition of his infrastructure development in Ebonyi State and support to the engineering profession. Let's arrange somebody to come and pick. So don't just give me an award. Chairman Yola Branch or Aisha Ali Umar, you can come forward. This is an award of excellence to His Excellency Right Honorable Amadu Umaru Fintri, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State. Bring them now. What do you want to do with it? This is an award of excellence to His Excellency, Senator Kashim Shettima, the former governor of Borno State. When you come forward, This is my brother. He has done very well for my state. Hey, come on. The Commissioner for Works, Kano State. Commissioner for Works, Kano State, where is he? He's coming in. Chairman, Kano State, please come forward. Gladima, you are welcome. Please take my seat. Arrange seat. Gladima, take my seat. Gladima Kadore, you are welcome. You came late, but take my seat. This is a, invite MB to come forward. Invite MB to come forward. Because this award is for Ganduje. This is an award to His Excellency Dr. Abdoulaye Umaru Ganduje. Where is the Deputy President? No, you have to support MB. The Commissioner for Works is on his way. I have a chat with him. But since MB is here, MB can collect for his governor. This is an award of excellence to His Excellency Dr. Abdoulaye Umar Ganduje, OFR, the Executive Governor of Kano State, for good infrastructural work in Kano State. Congratulations. Chairman, Enugu Branch. Chairman, Enugu Branch. This is an award to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Enugu State, our host. When we visited him in Enugu, humility at its best. He hosted us. He has done everything possible for us to have a very good conference, but situations do not allow it. We appreciate him. Chairman Enugu Branch, Mrs. Ujam. Next. Bring all the out now. Why I keep it there? Bring them. Why I keep them there? This is a presidential award to Engineer Chris Okoye. Chris Okoye, FNSC. He was my chairman, National Assembly Legislation Committee. He has done extremely well. Engineer Chris Okoye, are you in the hall? Thank you. I'm very happy, I'm very grateful. You have made NSC very proud. Congratulations. Engineer Epenyong Udo Epenyong, Senator, distinguished Senator. You are good now, you are not here, madam. What? I'll call you again. Wait. Engineer Senator Epenyong Udo Epenyong. It's not in the hall? Okay. Epenyong, thank you very much. Give me. Open it up. Open it now. Symbolic, okay. Symbolic, fine. Epenyong, thank you very much. This, fine. Symbolic, Next. Go and bring it. Lee Engineering. Lee Engineering, are you here? Lee Engineering. It's an indigenous engineering, and they have more than 3,000 engineers on their list, and they are doing extremely well. And we appreciate them for their support to NSC. Sunwell Engineering Limited. Sunwell. This is an upcoming Nigerian engineering company, and they are doing very well. We appreciate you for your support. The MD of Sunwell Nigerian Engineering. Recognition of your support to development of engineering practice in Nigeria. Congratulations. Yeah, Lee Engineering, Lee Engineering. Yeah. Go now. Take your part. Take your part. Lee Engineering.
Since it's our
Yes.
neighbor.
This for Lee Engineering?
Yes.
Sir, this is for Lee Engineering.
Thank you, sir.
Matrix Engineering Limited. Matrix is an engineering company, and they have done extremely very well. I thank you for your support to NSC. MD Matrix, fine. Apparently you got to collect for Matrix. Zetin Engineering. Zetin Engineering Limited. This is a corporate award for the Zetin Engineering. Zetin Engineering, Zetin, please come forward. Robert, come forward again. Robert, you have done very well for engineering. We appreciate you. Apart from your honorary award, you gave to NSC 22 systems. That's what is now we deploy in our secretariat. We appreciate you, and you have sponsored our bags for this conference. I appreciate you most sincerely. Finish? I've done? Done? Thank you very much. Now, this girl from will talk to us for 5 minutes. Yes.
Immediately after the scorecard, before that we talk.
Fine.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Please, let's appreciate Mr. President. While the award presentation was going on, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources of the Federal Republic of Nigeria walked in. It's my pleasure to acknowledge the presence of Engineer Suleiman Adamu, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and Fellow of the Academy of Engineering. Please, can we put our hands together for him? Engineer Suleiman Adamu is a former president of ACEN, past president of ACEN, please. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the immediate past executive secretary of the Federal Capital Development Authority, Engineer Omagambo Jibrin, OON. Let's put our hands together for him. And also we have in our midst 2 former chairmen of the board of fellows of the Nigerian Society of Engineers here. One of them just came in to receive an award. Engineer Chris Okoye is the former chairman of the board of fellows of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. You are welcome, sir. And also we have Engineer Felix Atume, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and member of the National Institute. Let me also acknowledge the head of the technical team. You know, if you look at my right-hand side, you see the members of the technical committee for this conference. I want to appreciate them and acknowledge the presence of Engineer Sadiq Zubairu Abubakar, popularly known as Engineer SZ Abubakar, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He is the head of the team, and other members of the team here duly and respectfully recognized. I think we are going to pause with the recognitions here to go into the next thing we have in our program. May I invite Engineer Fumi to lead us to the next item in our program. Also, let me quickly acknowledge the presence of Adam Sambo. He's representing the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Architect Namadi Sambo. Let's put our hands together for him, please. Before we take the infrastructure scorecard, please, let me invite the chairman of the 2021 National Engineering Conference and Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Society of Engineers Planning Committee, Engineer Etido Ingan, for his opening remarks. Let's put our hands together for him, please. Engineer Etido Ingan is also the chairman of Ibom Power Limited. Let's appreciate him, please.
Forgot again. Your Excellency, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, here heavily represented, the President of Council, Nigerian Society of Engineers, and the entire Council, and invited guests. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. It's very important that you hear from the Central Planning Committee. So I want to lend my voice with that of Mr. President, Nigerian Society of Engineers, to welcome you and the entire delegates, stakeholders, as well as our invited guests to this year's engineering conference, exhibition, and general meeting. This annual convention of Nigerian Society of Engineers is arguably the largest single gathering of engineers and development stakeholders in Nigeria, as well as the flagship program of our society. And I want to state here that we have registered over 6,000 engineers. The theme of this conference, as you all know, is expansion of energy mix for national economic growth. Arguably, this rather very apt theme, in a way, coming up on the heels of engineering, education, and lifelong learning opportunities for sustainable development, tending to consolidate on last year's national emphasis of our society. The conference will assuredly, in more ways than one, provide opportunities for the delegates and stakeholders to make the much desired remarkable contributions to address almost insoluble energy problem, and in so doing, help in providing sustainable economic prosperity as well as advancing technology in our dear country. Energy is vital, as you all know, to every aspect of socio-economic life, While most developed countries have achieved remarkable degrees of stability and efficiency in energy supply and management, Nigeria is seemingly battling to achieve an acceptable benchmark. The reason is not far-fetched, other than that Nigerian energy needs is being propelled mainly by fossil fuel, coal oil. Therefore, as energy demand increases, especially with growing population, urbanization, and ravaging novel COVID-19 pandemic, supply becomes grossly inadequate. The challenge of meeting the growing energy demand in Nigeria is huge, in the sense that while seeking for sustainable energy, supply, and making energy choice, the environmental problems of fossil fuel need to be considered. The way forward, therefore, is achieving energy availability, economic growth, and sustainability, is to timelessly turn serious attention to adopting a new viable way of expanding the energy mix of our country. Distinguished colleagues, this is perhaps what would have enforced the choices of the technical subcommittee of our committee in achieving or in arriving at these appropriate papers to be presented, as well as engaging the facilities or the faculties. While we commend their astuteness, I am hopeful that this would moderate the tone of what, as professionals and development stakeholders, we will be addressing at this conference. It is therefore my hope and belief that, as already guaranteed, the various amiable speakers and faculties that shall be addressing the conference will evoke thoughtful and engaging discussions that will engender veritable inputs of national development. I can also assure delegates that seasoned experts and technocrats in the field are available to present various papers, lead discussions at plenary, and converge ideas that will stimulate further research and development in the area of energy mix. Coincidentally, also, this is an elective conference. Of course, that is why you see the large turnout, where we hope to elect passionate and reputable professionals to sit in the National Council of our great society. We have made frantic efforts to improve our election processes this year. With the use of the electronic registration tag, which is entirely novel, eligible delegates would seamlessly be electronically accredited for the AGM. This approach has become necessary due to the need for strict compliance with the WHO COVID-19 prevention protocol. May I therefore urge all to make vital contribution that will make the conference not just achieve its set objective, but be a memorable one. Let me sincerely thank and congratulate the Enugu branch of our society for playing host to this auspicious conference this year. I welcome you all to Coal City 21, and I want to seize this opportunity to thank Mr. President on behalf of the CPC and the entire council for giving us this opportunity to serve. Thank you. Enjoy the conference.
Let's put our hands together one more time for the chairman of the Conference Planning Committee for 2021 Conference of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I would like to quickly recognize the presence. Okay, we'll quickly go into the presentation of the infrastructure report card of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Permit me, as I invite to the podium, a former president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Ademola Isaac Olorunfemi, FNSA. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes to the podium to present to us the infrastructural report card of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I can see your signal. As agreed, it will be under 10 minutes. I promise you. Mr. President, I want to align with all the protocols that have been established. I'd like to invite Engineer Femi Akintunde. Engineer Femi Akintunde is a member of the committee, is my vice chairman, and is also the group managing director of AlphaMid Engineering Services Limited, the partner of this project since 2014. This is the third edition of the official report. The earlier editions, 2015, 2017, we've developed those ones into app. Can I have the app on the platform, please? We'll also update the app and make this another app. Unlike in the 2015 edition, we're not going to give out the reports here. It's going to be a standalone event. Mr. President will speak to that. What we're doing today is an appetizer, it's a teaser. What you do those days in the film houses, coming soon. So there is, the President will announce the event as appropriate. It will be dedicated to the presentation so we can do justice. Yes, that is the app for the first and second edition. We've sent it to members before. The organizers of this conference will send it to us. It means that anywhere in the world you can access this. Like I said, we'll update this. I have the pleasure to invite Engineer Femi Akintunde to, in 3-4 minutes, to give an overview of what we have done while the soft copy is being rolled. Finally, I will invite the President to give the final word. Femi.
Thank you very much, our Chairman, our Honorable President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on existing protocol today. It's a great honor to be part of this committee and to support the chairman of the Infrastructure Scorecard Committee. This is a very important assignment for our nation, and we are very, very excited that the Nigerian Society of Engineers is taking the lead in this direction. There was a time in this country that when the budget is released, everybody waits anxiously to hear the views of the ICANN, how and what they feel about it and the direction it sets for the country. Nigerian Society of Engineers are being repositioned to take leadership position in the way we want infrastructure to affect our lives. Why are countries that are developed in the world today? What makes them what they are? It's been found out that quality of infrastructure they have impacts in no small way the quality of life of the people. It impacts in no small way the life expectancy of the people. It impacts in no small way the way the people manage themselves. And when we talk about infrastructure, we are looking at infrastructure from two dimensions: economic infrastructure and social infrastructure. Development of both must go hand in hand. If you take care of economic infrastructure like power, like roads, like aviation, and you neglect social infrastructure like education, like healthcare, they say health is wealth. If we take care of economic and people are not healthy, we cannot be wealthy as a nation. What distinguishes America, United Kingdom, from countries like that are underdeveloped today? or developing nations like Nigeria. Quality of infrastructure makes a very great difference in this. And this is the reason why we believe that what gets measured receives attention. Where attention flows, where attention is focused, energy flows and result follows. This is why engineers, as a profession of numbers, we believe that if we assist Nigeria to measure where we are in the quality and standard of our infrastructure, we have a basis to continuously look for improvement. And when we start to track the progress of improvement, our quality of life will follow. It is for this reason in 2017 that under the able president of our current chairman now for that infrastructure committee, Engineer Olorunfemi Ademola, this committee was set up in 2015, and we did a second one in 2017. This year we are producing the third version. What is this scorecard about? The scorecard looks at what do the public feel about the quality of our infrastructure. We look at various scope from roads, power, justice, healthcare, education, across board, and we get it out on electronic system to many Nigerians to say what they feel. Please note, these are perception. These are not quantitative measures. People tell you what they feel. You do not have control over how they feel. If a typical Nigerian feels that the road infrastructure is not strong, it's not good enough, it's going to say so. So on a rating of 1 to 5, people rated our infrastructure. These are Nigerians, the users. And in 2015, our raw rating came at an average of 1.51. 1.51, that is F. The methodology we are using is globally approved by all engineering bodies all over the world. So it is internationally recognized. We are not devising a different way of measuring this in Nigeria. We follow that same standard. And on that same standard, only 2 of our infrastructure scored E, and that is oil and gas and information technology. Every other infrastructure ended as F. We may say that, is this a fair assessment? Unfortunately, we do not have control over how Nigerians feel about the state of their infrastructure. But for that reason, this year, we decided to go a step further by including another point where we call quantitative assessment. The quantitative assessment gives the providers of the infrastructure the opportunity for the first time to give quantitative measures, quantitative assessment of what they are doing, to take the infrastructure from where it is today to where it should be tomorrow. And we allowed and we invited the various ministries and parastatals to give us data. What is the kilometer of road you are going to maintain this year? How many megawatts of power are you going to add to the public generation and public distribution? How are you going to improve our aviation sector that will take us closer to what we have in Dubai, what we have in Heathrow? And on that basis, we brought in this new perspective from the providers. Not only did we do that, we also provided another opportunity, which we call the executive insight, to now say that if the ministries and parastatals feel that this is where we stand, we want the minister to tell the world what is his vision, how is he positioning our infrastructure that is placed under his stewardship from where it is today to tomorrow, so that the quality of life of an average Nigerian will improve from where it is now and make it better for tomorrow. We did an assessment by comparing the standard in Nigeria to standard in 3 countries across Africa. And we also take 3 countries globally for benchmarking, on the basis of which we looked at where is Nigeria today? How many millions of people are going through our international airport? How does this compare to what happens in Dubai? How does it happen to what happens in America? And on that basis, we took each of the infrastructure line and compare to these countries. We used Kenya, Ghana, and South Africa, and Egypt for Africa comparison. And for the international comparison, we took the United Kingdom, we took China, we took America, and we took United Arab Emirates. Not necessarily that we're going to be at their level tomorrow, but if we say this is where we are relative to America today, we can set a target to say in 10 years' time we want to be where America is. with respect to road infrastructure. We want to be where United Arab Emirates is with respect to aviation. So on that basis, we now look at what are the quality, what are the best practices they are implementing in each of these areas. How can we begin to implement what they are doing so that it takes us further? It looks at capacity, it looks at funding, it looks at how they maintain their infrastructure. Because it's one thing for you to have the infrastructure, and if you don't maintain them, it ends up being a waste. It ends up not serving the purpose for which it was developed. So we believe that not only should we have the stock of infrastructure, we must have structures in place. We must put the ability to manage it in the right perspective, which is now being considered through a PPP structure of the public-private partnership to ensure that when we spend so much money to develop infrastructure of our airport, we're able to maintain it and it's able to serve our people the best way it can all over the world. This is what the infrastructure scorecard has done. We believe strongly that the Nigerian Society of Engineers have set a new standard. The last one we did was well commended globally. And we know that if we can sustain this practice, we can keep the standard high, we are going to achieve a point where we can even compare the stock of our infrastructure and the quality on a regional basis, from the north to the south to the east to the west. And on this basis, I believe that we'll have a basis to continue to monitor, to track, and to improve the standard and quality of this infrastructure. This is what we have done. Thank you very much for your attention, and we look forward to the formal presentation later. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi. And I have the honor to invite Mr. President to please give further directives.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Infrastructure scorecard is a measure of development. Nigeria is going through budget reviews, and we need to do this quickly so that our administrators will use this for budgeting. This is a gift from Nigerian Society of Engineers to Nigerians, and we are going to launch this officially, not here. This is just a copy of it, but we'll release it officially on 21st of December. But this is meant, this is it, and it's good to go. Thank you, and God bless you. We are good?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, the Infrastructure Scorecard team, for that beautiful presentation. We are going to have another short presentation. It's going to be on wheels, planning for the inevitable. Wheels, planning for the inevitable. And the presenter is Barrister Emok Kinyovo Dafe Apedeye. She is a qualified solicitor and managing partner of Compos Mentis Legal Practitioners. She'll be speaking to us for 5 minutes. Please, can we settle down, please? Let's take our seats.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. Toknadu. This is a popular saying in Warri, which means the person who does as he says. This aptly describes the man you see on the screen today, Dafe Akpede, SAED OFR, who was my father, mentor, and best friend. In 1999, at the young age of 38, he started preaching the gospel of planning for the inevitable. And being a true Toknadu, he wrote his own will and had it registered in probate that year. He died last year, and I can proudly say that his house was in order because he prepared his estate for the inevitable. At this point, I would like to thank Mr. President and the National Executive Committee of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and the Planning Committee for this 2021 conference for inviting me to speak on these evergreen issues of wills, planning for the inevitable at your conference. Now, many of us are very fearful when anyone brings up the issue of wills.
If you happen to watch the popular YouTube series, it's called Therapy, which stars Files and Toke Makinwa, in that one of the episodes, Mrs. Sarumi suggested to her husband that he make a will, and he was very alarmed. He felt that the woman wanted him to die. And so this is how we behave in Nigeria. We say things like, God forbid, it's not my portion, I reject it. But the truth is that we don't know the future. It's coming, and we don't know the time of our demise. And so we must plan for the future. Benjamin Franklin said, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. And I want to add, by deciding to prepare, you are preparing for success. So I congratulate NSC, especially your dynamic president and the president of the foremost engineering institution in Africa, Engineer Babagana Muhammad, FNSC, for the foresight in bringing this important topic to this gathering of distinguished personalities. Now that I hope I have convinced you on the importance of this topic, the first thing I will say is that the issue of wills, wealth, and estate transfer is very broad and hydra-headed. But for the reason for this conference, I will only highlight some key issues. Now, on the screen there, you have some of the advantages of making a will. It allows you to decide how your estate will be transferred. It allows you to appoint credible executors. It is actually cheaper to grant probate than letters of administration, and for so many other reasons, which is highlighted on the screen. Now, the first thing when we're talking about the Nigerian context is the cultural issues when we come to inheritance. If a person dies intestate, which means he dies without making a will, it means that the customary law of succession will be activated. For instance, under customary law, you can actually make a customary will, which means that you just declare it in the presence of witnesses what you want at your death. Now, it's not far-fetched what the problems with that system are. People may not have heard properly. The witnesses may start to collude. There might be issues of, did he actually devolve all his properties before death? And so that's the issue with customary wills. Now, if the person didn't say anything orally and there's no statutory will, then the true laws of succession will apply, and it will be determined by your own custom of your place. But we must always remember that even though we are subject to customary laws, some laws can be declared unconstitutional if they are repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. For instance, the Supreme Court has ruled that the Igbo culture, which does not allow women to inherit, is unconstitutional and repugnant to natural justice. Now, importantly, let's talk about inheritance under Islamic law. Similar to inheritance under customary law, this aspect of law of succession only applies to Muslims in certain states where the law expressly provides for such limitations. So you would have to look at your own state law, your state wills law, to decide whether you are going to be subject to Islamic law as a Muslim. And the law specifically states it's only for a person who immediately before his death was subject to Islamic personal law. So some states are silent on it, but some examples of states which have these provisions are states like Oyo State, Jigawa, and Kaduna State. Now, the stipulation of Islamic law is very clear. Certain percentages must be given to certain people, and in general, a person cannot give more than 1/3 of his entire estate to persons that are not family members. So it's important to check that out. Now, on the issue of wills, again, we have listed some of the laws governing wills in Nigeria. We have the Wills Act, wills laws of different states, the High Court laws and rules, the common law, and the decisions of superior courts like the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. Now, briefly, we'll take who can make a will. Very simple. Anybody of statutory age with sound mind at the time of making it. Now, statutory legal age, I'm sure everyone here is past that age. 21 if it's the Wills Act, and 18 in some states. Now, you can imagine if an 18-year-old can make a will, how much more many of our distinguished guests here who have children and grandchildren. It's so important to make a will. Again, even if someone is physically infirm, so far as the mind is working on compos mentis, which happens to be the name of my law firm, then you can make a will. And then the next slide should be on essentials of a valid will. So as I said, you must have testamentary capacity, the statutory age, and be of a sound mind. It must be in writing if you want it to be a statutory will. There are some exceptions, but I've looked around the audience and I don't think anyone applies unless there's someone from the armed forces, and then we can speak briefly about that in camera. Then you must disclose your intention. What is your intention? How do you want to distribute your assets? It is also testamentary, which means it can only be effective after the death of the testator. And it's ambulatory. So if you make a will today, you can change your mind tomorrow and execute a new will until, of course, the time of death. It is used to dispose properties, and it must be signed, critically, signed by the testator in the presence of 2 witnesses. The witnesses must also sign. Now, very importantly, do not allow someone who will benefit under the will to sign. Although the will will be valid, the person is not going to be able to inherit under the will if he signs the will. In terms of storage of the wills, after you've made the will, you need to store it somewhere safe. There are certain places that are good for this purpose. The probate registry. Every high court in the Federation has a probate registry which is charged with the administration of wills. Now, this is actually the most recommended form of storage, because when a person dies and probate needs to be granted, you need to go to an actual probate registry. And if it hasn't been registered there, then it's a bit of delay, because you have to now do the process of going to court, getting an ex parte order to, store the will at probate registry. Then you can store it at your home. It's also fine, but remember, people might then argue, oh, is this Baba's last will, Mama's last will, and all that. It may lead to contentious issues. You can store with the executors, the people you've named in the will, or with the lawyer who drafted it, or at a bank, a trusted bank that you might be sure is not going to crash anytime soon, or with a trusted friend or relative. Now, also note that you can make many copies of your will and store them in several places, so that in the event of any demise, there will be someone that can have access to that will. And so briefly, I will talk about the need for estate planning. Please keep the slide on probate. I will talk about the need for estate planning. Now, estate planning is quite broader than just making a will. It's deciding, how do I want my assets to not just be distributed, but to be managed. I want to avoid maybe some estate taxes and things like that. And note, please, I said avoid, not evade. Please, no one should evade taxes. Thank you very much. And so the core estate planning task might be making a will. You may want to limit the estate taxes. You may want to establish a guardian for minor children, or create new beneficiaries on your life insurance plan or your pension plan, set up for funeral arrangement, or establish an annual gifting process. So for instance, if you want to give to a particular charity on a yearly basis, you can do that with estate planning. Now, it's also advisable that you always review your estate planning documents every 3 to 5 years, because of course changes happen. And then if you have a major life event, say a marriage, or wedding, promotion, retirement, it is good to update your estate planning documents. Again, change of residency, state of residency. If you are living in Delta, for instance, and then you come and live in you start living in FCT, you may need to change some of your documents. And of course, if there's a massive upward change in your wealth status, you will need to also update your estate documents. Now, dear distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by saying, shine your eye well, well. This is another popular worry saying, which means be wise. Ignorance is no excuse after you have been well informed today. It is never too early or too late. Plan to prepare your will today. And with this, I say thank you so much. Please also note that if anyone wants more information after this time, my firm's details are on the screen. Compos Mentis Legal Practitioners. You can reach us on our website or any of our social media handles. Thank you so much.
Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Please, can we try as much as possible to limit movement, sit calm, while we continue to enjoy other presentations. Now, to address us with her presentation, I'd like to invite Rosemary Ojo Chenemi Oshikoya of Ladi Memorial Foundation. Honorable Rosemary is an education consultant, immediate past commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Kogi State, and commissioner for Environment and Rural Resource and Natural Resources. Please, a round of applause for her.
The President and Chairman in Council, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, FNSC, Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. I would like to congratulate you for a very successful stakeholder engagement, and to also thank you for the lecture yesterday which was presented. I would like to congratulate all engineers because over the years and over the time, you have done so much at several levels to change the narrative, provide solutions. But this morning, I am delighted for this opportunity to draw our attention to some missing link we all need to pay attention to. The education policy of Nigeria says education is provided at various levels. Yesterday, we heard about the tertiary. And oftentimes, we are all familiar that from the ages of 4 to 15, children at basic level also have to acquire basic education. The missing link until very recently has been the attention to secondary education, and now we're talking about the formal education. Presently, Nigeria has set up the National Secondary Education Commission, and that has provided a federal attention to senior secondary education. Education, like many of us know, is operated at the formal and the non-formal sector. And yesterday, and almost every time engineers talk, we draw our attention to the formal sector, and all our activities goes on in the formal sector. But in 2018, Nigeria was shocked because Nigeria in 2018 have the highest number of children who are out of school. Whether at 10 million, 14 million, or 12 million, the reality remains the same. A situation we have heard about over the years, and one many of us have not understood the exact ramification of that challenge. In addition, we're also told in 2018, Nigeria have the highest number of youth population. People who are less than 30 years form over 2/3 population of Nigeria's entire population. Today we live with the reality of security challenges, and then we will live with the reality of what happened. If I am to quote the Minister for State for Education just 2 weeks ago, he said, we live today with the reality of all that didn't happen right in the Nigeria education sector all over the years. I'm not here to add my voice to the bad omen. I'm here to say there is a policy framework which all of us as engineers and stakeholders in engineers, we have paid attention to some part of that, but we need to do a lot more. With this data I have just provided, how do you harness and you make productive a youthful population that are grossly not very literate, do not have the requisite skills, and at the same time we would say, but we've been doing a lot for skills because we've just talked about TVETs, and then we've had different interventions. We gather in a lot of people. But I got excited because in 2018, like some of us may be aware, a policy was brought up that is called the National Skills Qualification Framework. Now, as far as education policies are concerned, Nigeria is robust for the abundant availability of them. Yesterday we heard that University of Maiduguri has to a certain extent deployed some of those policies, but even though we have done that, we always will focus on this small population of people we have in formal education. And it appears as if the problem is not abating. What does the National Skill Qualification Framework talks about? Because in last year also, in 2017, the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education also put forward a review of the national policy for adult literacy. And what that says is education at non-formal level in Nigeria can be made at par, equivalent with formal education. But then we have the challenge of implementation. And this morning, by this opportunity I have, I would like to advocate, to sensitize, and to crave the indulgence of every individual to give support to the National Skill Qualification Framework. As an NGO, we innovated a strategy. By the way, Mr. President, thank you so much, because next week, the President's NSE will be, for the first time, a pilot we initiated and innovated, letting the town meet the hall. A public school here, thanks to the FCT, approved the pilots of the implementation of a TVET skill as a co-curricular activity. And Mr. President, thank you, because on Thursday next week, you will be graduating the first pilot we have in government secondary school, Piakasa. What have we done? We brought together the NABTEP syllabus, the NERDC curriculum for formal education, and we brought together again the policy for non-formal education. And then we fused that into a co-curricular TVET activity that students in school can acquire skills that are functional and at the same time mop up the free energy, the free time they have, which they have put to other use, increasing teenage pregnancy, youth violence, and a whole lot of all that. Engineers have a social corporate responsibility to better the environment around us, provide solution, most importantly, ensure sustainability by grooming, coaching, and mentoring the next generation. I would like to appeal to every engineer here that we need to pay more increased attention to the domestication of the NSQF. We need, in practical sense, to build Nigerian youth and young adults in formal and non-formal settings to acquire practical, functional, vocational skills. Why? Because the law says so. That before a child completes junior secondary school at 3, by the time a child is 15 years, he should have functional, lively school skills for self-improvement, self-development, for entrepreneurship, and for advanced coaching. And I would like to say, the basic need of humans are food, clothing, and shelter. Nigeria is not producing enough clothing. We are not producing enough quality food. And if we all collectively draw our attention to how to groom the artisans, the blue-collar jobs, and then the technologists and those we have there, producing the machines we need to sew our clothes, the modular industries that we need, then possibly we should all begin to look at the content, the certification of everybody who should make the blue-collar job work and grow the Nigeria economy. Thank you, because you will leave here with that, and we will do more collectively together.
Thank you very much, Ma. Please, let's appreciate her. Before we go to the next item we have in our program, while we have this announcement, please, all spouses in the house, please, you are expected to be outside for your courtesy visit. Please, all spouses, please. Thank you very much. On that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite one of our honorees for today, Mr. Azebola Emmanuel Robert, for his response. Let's put our hands together for him. FNSC. Let's put our hands together for him, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Azebola Emmanuel Robert. I don't know whether to say ex-barrister, graduated as a lawyer. Now, I'm a practical member of the Nigerian Engineering Society. So I want to start by the existing protocol, but particularly I want to acknowledge one of my fathers, Dasuki, former NSA, who is here, and Michael Gedome, the Chief of Staff to the President, Goodluck Jonathan, and His Royal Highnesses who came as my guests here. I want to thank the Nigerian Society of Engineers, particularly the President and the Council, for giving me the opportunity to be rubbing soldiers with them at this stage of my life. I'm particularly grateful because they found me a little bit worthy to be honored, and particularly that it is a push to take me to the next level of engineering development of Nigeria. My commitment is to ensure that Nigeria, not myself, advance technologically and to meet the developed world. Because, as my profile said, I'm a social thinker. I think a lot and I do a lot of practical things because of my upbringing. I was not sounding immodest. I was a very good mathematician when I was in the secondary school. And of course, I did a lot of additional mathematics, statistics, chemistry, physics, and all that. And I had a lot of A1s and A2 in those subjects. But I became a lawyer. And after I became a lawyer, I knew that my spirit was also in engineering. And my focus now, I have done a lot of civil engineering, employ a lot of engineers in civil engineering. But lately, I have been thinking that the bedrock of engineering and the bedrock of development of nations is in the mechanical engineering section. And my goal is to ensure that the little resources that God has given to me, I invest it in mechanical engineering while doing the civil engineering as well. Now, the passion is that I feel sad as a person because I started life as a human rights person. And I feel sad that 60 years after independence or more, Nigeria is unable to produce a simple engine that we can call an engine produced in Nigeria. Whereas we are 260 million people in this country, and we are the biggest black nation in the world. And I think that if Nigerians were to put their acts together, the social injustice that is happening to the black people in the advanced societies like United Nations and all that will be greatly diminished because they will find a home to come and they will be able to walk with their feet high. Therefore, I am calling all Nigerians and Nigerian engineers particularly that we need to give more attention to our development in mechanical engineering. Particularly so that those of us who are wealthy, we buy a lot of luxurious things. Luxurious planes, luxurious cars, luxurious yachts, and all that. I think that it is time for us as a nation to begin to invest in machines that produce machines. Machines that produce luxurious goods. And these machines are all over the world for you to buy and bring. In my practice of the little engineering that I have practiced, I know that a car, whatever you call it, is made up of between 3, 5, 6 mm plate wrapped around us, which is something that we wrap around us and takes us from one position to the other. Nigerians, we have the capacity, we have the mental capacity to be able to produce a simple car by ourselves, from the body to the engine. What is an engine of a car? A simple mechanism that traps energy and makes itself as an explosion, a controlled explosion that you move from one place to the other. Let us work together as a nation because this nation is great. We must bring our acts together and begin to buy the machines that produce machines so that Nigeria will be a great nation. I appreciate all of you for making this time to come and celebrate me, and for my fellow honorary awardee, the Shehu of Borunu. I thank you so much, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of you. God bless you today.
Please, a round of applause for Azibola Emmanuel Roberts, a lawyer with the heart, mind, soul, and spirit of engineering. Please, we can do better than that. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much. Yes, our time is fast spent, and in no time, we'll be done with the opening ceremony. Now we quickly take the remarks from our chief host in person of the Honorable Minister of FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, who is here ably represented by the Executive Secretary of FCDA, Engineer Shehu Hadi Ahmad, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. A round of applause for Engineer Shehu Hadi.
Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The president, former president, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan ably represented here. Our president and chairman in council, my own boss, my friend and brother, the Minister of the Water Resources, the Galadima himself, Engineer Suleiman Adamu Hussaini, my very senior colleagues, past presidents of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, other distinguished guests, my colleagues, distinguished engineers, a very good afternoon. I stand here before you to represent the Honorable Minister FCT, who unfortunately is tied to some other pressing official engagement. But I think on my own part, fortunate for me to be delegated to come and represent him as one of your own. And he sends his glad tidings and goodwill on this august gathering of Nigerian engineers. So what I'm going to read is the speech of the Honorable Minister FCT, Malam Muhammad Musa Bello, who is at the moment on another official engagement. It gives me great pleasure to join you here today at the opening ceremony of the 2021 National Engineering Conference, an annual general meeting tagged Call City 21. First of all, I would like to thank the Nigerian Society of Engineers for choosing Abuja to host this all-important conference and AGM. Well, it's the speech of the minister, but I know that it's the Call City, Enugu, that is hosting the conference, but is holding here in Abuja for some obvious challenges. I believe you find us warm and welcoming host. We are most honored to have you here. I know also that Abuja is a living laboratory of how to turn ideas into reality, which is what engineers do. I'm therefore not surprised that you choose Abuja for this AGM and conference without prejudice to Enugu, who should have hosted the conference, but for the challenges of insecurity. Amazingly, looking at the slogan of the conference, Call City 21, one begins to wonder, is coal being discovered in Abuja, or is Enugu aspiring to become like Abuja? What I'm very sure of is that this AGM will not take Abuja back to the coal age, but I know I've been clarified by the president that actually it was solely because of the insecurity that Abuja will be hosting this, and perhaps some other years to come, and this should be in a short while, hoping that this issue of menace of insecurity will have been resolved. The Nigerian Society of Engineers is a distinguished and reputable society with a rich history of promoting engineering education, research, and practice of the engineering profession in all its ramifications. The beautiful infrastructure that you see in Abuja is a case in point. That is not only the achievements of the founding fathers and the leadership of the FCTA, but also a tribute to the efforts and dedication of our engineers who participated in all these projects at various times. We couldn't have achieved such milestone without the Nigerian engineers. The engineering profession performs an indispensable role in the society. Engineers turn abstract ideas into reality. Engineers are mindfully most concerned about solving societal problems, taking into cognizance in the process public safety, serviceability, cost effectiveness, and most importantly, sustainability. Looking at the theme of this year's conference, expansion of energy mix for national economic growth, the topic is apt and timely. I'm sure you will do justice to the topic in the course of the technical sessions. Energy is key to the socio-economic survival of any nation. Accordingly, increasing energy sources guarantees energy supply and security, which in turn enhances sustained economic growth. Here in the FCT, we welcome creativity and innovation that engineers are known for. We therefore assure the Nigerian Society of Engineers of our continued support at all times. Meanwhile, the FCT administration is determined to pursue vigorously the provision of basic engineering infrastructure to its teeming population for sustainable economic and social growth. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleague distinguished engineers, Abuja City is not only about roads and bridges. It is also known for leisure and relaxation. I hope you will find time to savour and explore the city and what it has to offer in this regard during the course of your stay for this AGM. I wish you all a successful conference and AGM, and pray that you return safely back to your various destinations. I am certain that the Nigerian Society of Engineers will continue to prosper, and Abuja, as well as other cities, will continue to benefit from the creativity of engineers and their innovations. I thank you all. Muhammad Musa Bello, Minister FCT. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, quickly, I want to correct something. The FCT minister is the host. The chief host is the governor of Enugu State, Right Honorable Ifeanyi Chukwu Lawrence Ugwuanyi. He is the chief host, and we're expecting the representative of the chief host to come for the address by the chief host. Please, once we get the signal, we invite. But while we are waiting for that, let me quickly invite the MD of NETCO. The MD of NETCO, Engineer Johnson Awoyomi, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, for his remarks. While we are waiting for that, let me quickly acknowledge the presence of the Governor of Jigawa State, Muhammadu Badaru Abubakar. He is represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Works and Transportation, Engineer Aminu Usman, member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Let's put our hands together for him. The MD of NETCO. If the MD of NETCO is not around, it's my pleasure to invite for his remarks our very distinguished guest, founding chairman of Raw Material Research and Development Council and former chairman of FEMA, a very distinguished engineer, Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Iwanyan, CFR, OFR, MFR, for his remarks. Hello. Hello.
The President, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Your Royal Highness, the Emir who has been decorated with a fellowship, and other very distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Babagana Muhammad, I want to thank you very much. You have done very well. And for all those who work with you, I want also to thank them. As I stand here, I remember all the battles we fought. You know, today, I'm on the threshold of 80 years. I'm no more able to do those things I did in those days. But we fought a great battle. Most of my colleagues are dead. But coming here, Baba Gana, I want to tell you, on behalf of my colleagues, even those who are alive and those who are dead, we are very grateful that we have children who are keeping the flag flying. We are very proud of you. I would also like to mention one or two things of concern briefly. There is this question of climatic change in the world. Environmental problem in the world is a very serious problem. I don't want us to joke with it. And I'm very glad, I'm very proud that the President of Nigeria is actually taking it very serious. Honorable Minister, when you get back, tell him we are very happy. He has been playing a good role in the United Nations over the climatic change. Engineers have a role to play. And I would like to let you know this is not new. People think it is new. Those of you who are Christians, read the Bible. God created the world and he gave it to man. He told us to conquer. And that's what engineers are doing. From then, environment has been polluted. If you remember, the first man lived 900 and something years. Methuselah. Why are we not living up to that? Because of environmental pollution. So it's a thing that is going on, and it will continue to go on. I want us engineers to know that it's a challenge we are going to take very seriously. It has reached a point of concern. Last week, a building collapsed in Ikoyi. I would like, Mr. President, you have to work with other colleagues to look into this matter. When we design, most of these places, our buildings are on reclaimed soil. And you know, we engineers, when we design, we have the code for building houses on reclaimed soil. The past 1 year, the rainfall was very heavy. The runoff was great. And of course, all of us here studied the foundation. You know as well as I do that the runoff is high and there is a very heavy pressure mounted on buildings. And that pressure tends to degrade the integrity of those foundations. And I think we have to look at it again to know if we have to change the codes, add additional factor of safety in future designs. Because these reclaimed soils, some of them are done by people haphazardly. There is no proper check. So the engineer, you have a duty. It's even possible that if this situation continues, some existing tall buildings, big buildings will collapse. Because you know, of course, you know the pressure put by water. You know, it's trapezoidal at about 1/3 from the base. The pressure is continually pushing and making the building to move. And this is very dangerous. So that is the first assignment I want to give you. And of course, you know, its impact too on flexible pavement, and well, on pavements and also bridges. I think, you see, we have to look at it very, very seriously. It requires a committee because it is a danger for us. Even we talk of this COVID-19 and so on, it's all part of environmental problem. And if anybody thinks it will stop, it will not stop. So this is one of the messages I want to give you. The other final message is probably the young engineers. I think you have to look into their plight. You have to look into their plight. I think, frankly speaking, we are producing so many engineers who are going about doing nothing, and that degrades the integrity of engineering profession. So I suggest that every year, the federal government should be able, maybe put a budget, all the contracts they have. Some engineers should go there to understudy all the companies, and they should be paid by the federal government from that particular fixed sum. These engineers will go there, they will be able to understand what happened, and they will be able to establish their own businesses. I think this is very, very important. If you think that these foreigners will take care of us, no, because they want to get the jobs. They want the engineers to be employed. So that is the point. Now, final point is about political appointment. I think really the question of I'm a politician, you know, I've been a politician. And you know, I ran for the presidency of this country 3 times. I did it because I believe that an engineer can run this country very well. And I know I could run it very well. Now, I think really, if the Attorney General, Commissioner for Justice is an engineer, is a lawyer, if the Minister for Justice, for Health is a doctor, I think the Minister for Engineering Services should be an engineer. Like, I am very happy with the gentleman here. He's an engineer and a minister. And when I say engineer, I don't mean those who just have gone to study engineering. Those who are honorary members, like some governors are honorary fellows of our society. If they are made ministers, that will be accepted. But we want it to be known that somebody who has either studied engineering or have made contribution to engineering is made the minister. Thank you very much. I wish you the best.
Thank you very much. Please, can we appreciate the last speaker, Engineer Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Iwanyanwu, for that beautiful remarks. Quickly, it's my pleasure to invite the President of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations for her remarks. Let's put our hands together for Engineer Carlien Bonchedid as she comes to the podium.
Welcome. The President of the Nigerian Society, and looking at a very important topic on the expansion of the energy mix for national economic growth. This is another important topic in a long line of topics that you have considered at various conferences organized by the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And no doubt one that will also come out with some very important conclusions. At the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, we are committed to ensuring that engineering is recognized as the key driver that is required to develop the continent. We recognize that we need a competent, diverse, ethical workforce and companies that engage in sustainable engineering practice. We also recognize that we need to encourage innovation and research, and we need to be effective as an organization if we are to achieve our aims. So I'm very pleased to note that present in this hall today, we have captains of industry. At FIO, we have agreed to form some working groups that will look at various industry sectors like energy, water, information, technology, transportation, and so on, as we try to bring about the Africa we want. And I'm sure that we will be getting some of our membership for these committees from this hall today. I would especially like to mention the recently honored member of the Nigerian Society, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who was just honored today, Azibola Roberts. I was very impressed with his profile there, and I'm inviting him to join FIO. These are groups, our working groups will be working to help with the practical implementation of some of the outcomes of the conferences like this that are held around Africa, and identifying the standards that we need to harmonize around Africa and so on. And we want all of you on board. We cannot leave out a nation as big as Nigeria in Africa. You will have to be ably represented. And so with these few words, I'd like to wish all of you a very successful conference. Thank you for the warm welcome that I have personally received, and I know my colleagues from Ghana have also received. It's always a pleasure to be here in Nigeria with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kallian Bolchadit, for that beautiful remarks. Let's put our hands together for her once again. As I said earlier, she is the president of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, and of course, past president of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. It's my pleasure to invite for his remarks the president of the West African Federation of Engineering Organizations and immediate past president of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, Engineer Leslie Alex Aye. Let's put our hands together for him.
President Babagana Mohammed, and also Alhaji Abubakar Ibn Umar Gabai, the Shehu of Borno State. I've never been there, but I'm hoping to be there to visit you. And I stand on the existing protocols to wish the Nigerian Society of Engineering all the best in the coming celebration. Of course, my boss has spoken, so I have very few words to speak now. Now, for the West Africa, we think that we need to stand together to build West Africa and, to a large extent, Africa. We talked about the continental free trade in Africa. We talked about Africa we want. But we cannot do that alone as Ghana or Nigeria. We need to hold hands together. We've reached out to the Francophone countries, and we started with the educational system to make sure that we have fair distribution of knowledge across West Africa. And we can develop a global chain and West Africa industrial global chain, and that's how we can build ourselves up. We would confer and honor and get our constitutions together so that together we'll be able to build. West Africa has a large market, and we need to stand. If people will take us seriously as Africans, it depends on what we see ourselves and what we do as Africa. I was glad to hear the industrialist talk about how he's coming up with machines and engines. Morocco is doing very well in this manufacturing parts for the Airbus and Boeing, which means that if Morocco can do it, the rest of us can do it. And I believe that in the coming years, as we set our educational system together, with NSC's support, GHI's support, and I believe that West Africa will change, and the Africa we want shall come to pass. I wish you all an elaborate and profitable conference, that at the end of the day, we can all shake hands and say that we have changed from 1 degree to a higher degree of knowledge in engineering. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Leslie Alex Aye, President of the West African Federation of Engineering Organizations. Quickly, may I invite for his remarks the President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, Engineer.
Sudden loss. Mr. President, I thank you for inviting me to this event, and although when I came in, many people were asking me whether I'm representing anybody. I say I'm representing myself because I qualify to be here. as a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and being a very active member for several years. So it's always a pleasure. And although this is an annual ritual of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, I was particularly impressed, I'm very, very impressed with this particular conference because of some of the papers that were presented and some of the activities that have been going on, the people that were honored, number one, and secondly, an aside like the lecture, the presentation on inheritance, but most importantly, I want to congratulate the Nigerian Society of Engineers on this infrastructure report. I knew when former President Olorunfemi was harassing me, when are we going to sit down with you? When are we going to sit down with you? And having seen the report today, at least the teaser that was presented, I think this is a marvelous exercise, and this is what is expected of us as engineers to be doing. I only wish that some of the components of this report would have been captured in the 2021 to 2025 National Master Plan that has been recently developed by the Buhari administration. And for the first time, one of the interesting things about this national plan is that there is going to be a legislation to ensure that even post this administration and maybe subsequent administrations, all national development plans will be subject to the law. There will be a law enacted by the National Assembly to ensure that every successive government is duty-bound to implement that program. So I really hope that that has been taken in. Again, I listened to the presentation on education apart from the infrastructure, and I came to the conclusion that maybe after all, although I personally have been feeling that the Executive Order number 5 has not really taken solid roots in the country, but this highlighting the nexus between engineering, education, and development, I think we are getting there. As an engineering student in 1980, when I went into part 1, apologies to our elders like Chief Iwayao, we used to have in Ahmadu Bello University what we call the Engineering Week. And we could see all the things, all the product were being displayed at the Kashim Ibrahim Library. And year after year, I've always been lamenting why in this country we still do not have a connection between research and development. And thanks to the lawyer turned engineer that made the presentation, I think this is the crux of the matter. So this infrastructure report, the issue of education, engineering education, and the lot, if we fuse these things together, I think we are now getting it right, and we must continue to work this. So this, honestly, the presentations in this AGM and national conference have just been marvelous. I would like to congratulate my good friend and brother, President Babagana Mohammed, for a successful tenure, and I'm confident that Engineer Wudil will carry on from where he has left. I know in engineering, in Nigeria Society of Engineers and COREN, we don't need to have a legislation. Every time we have a successive president, he always continues from where the other one has left. And that is why we don't have abandoned projects in NSC and the COREN. And please, if we are able to do all these things together, I'm sure the future is very bright for our country. Proudly an engineer, I wish you a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Hussaini Adamu, for that goodwill message. Quickly, before we invite our special guest of honor for his goodwill message, let me quickly acknowledge the presence of Engineer Abba Kasani Sambo, former DG of Energy Commission. And also let me especially welcome the representative of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi WAZOBIA Miller, who is represented by Engineer Solomon Maren, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Let's put our hands together for him, please. Also, we have in our midst, I can't cite him, former Honorable Minister of Aviation and former, he's not putting his traditional attire today, Ikobosi. My namesake, we share two names together. Mr. Osita Benjamin Chidoka, OFR. Please, can we put our hands together for him? The former Honorable Minister of Aviation. You are welcome, sir. Ikobosi. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have come to one of the high points of today's event, and that is a speech by the special guest of honor of today's event, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2010 to 2015, His Excellency, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Grand Commander Order of the Niger, Grand Commander Order of the Federal Republic, ably represented by the former Chief of Staff to Mr. President, former Deputy Governor of Edo State. It's my pleasure to invite for the address of the special guest of honor, Mr. Mike Ohiadome, Commander of the Federal Republic. Can we put our hands together for him, please?
Thank you. The President of the Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, the Chief Host for today, the Honorable Minister for the Federal Capital Territory here represented, the Honorable Minister of State for Water Resources, fellows of the Nigeria Society of Engineers, and in particular, our own very engineer, Eze, the powerful man. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The President himself has already done my work because he did announce the actual circumstance for the absence of President Goodluck Jonathan from here today. He really was making all frantic efforts to be here, but caught up in Guinea over a very assignment for the ECOWAS group. He has asked me to congratulate and appreciate the society for the wonderful job the engineers have been doing in this country. He appreciates your integrity and the way you have been doing in all projects. He especially also said that I should mention that you guide this integrity very jealously to prevent cases of quackery in the profession. And let me congratulate the awardees for today. Their situation is particularly very special because they were never schooled in engineering, but they practice engineering excellently. It brings to bear the fact that beyond just going to school, people should be encouraged to develop on their passion and competencies. Our royal father and my dear friend and brother, have done so greatly in the profession. And the Society of Engineers has been very magnanimous as well as professional to recognize these special fellows who are contributing to the development of engineering practice in this country. I believe that this will encourage others who have interest in the profession to come out and play their own role in professional ways. It brings to my mind my own personal experience. About 25 years ago, I went through this. I read agronomy in school, in UI, but I was also conferred with a membership of the Geosciences Society of Nigeria because of my work in mining. So I want to use the opportunity to thank the society for the great work they are doing in standardizing and developing infrastructure and also our environment. I urge you to continue to guard jealously the integrity of your profession. It is on this note, therefore, that I extend the goodwill of Mr. President, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, to the society. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's appreciate him. Quickly, may I invite the Managing Director of NETCO, Engineer Johnson Awoyomi, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, for his goodwill message.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I say congratulations to the organizer of this program for making this day a great reality, and we thank God. I'm from NETCO. My name is Johnson Awoyomi, the MD of NETCO. I think I want to talk to us about just one thing: cost on our projects. As engineers, we need to be mindful of our cost, because cost is a big issue in today's dimensions. We are transiting in energy. Energy transition from fossil to renewable to solar, all the rest of them. But cost is a key driver. We have got many engineers, fellows, experts in this and that, but very, very few experts in cost engineering. And from experience, many projects fail not because we are not good in technicals, but we are cumbersome and clumsy in cost. And you know, majorly when you are doing a project, scoping is fundamental. Scoping drives the cost, drives the schedule, it drives the quality, it drives the contingency and the risk. So I'm enjoying us as engineers when we are trying to expand energy mix. Let's be mindful of our cost. Cost is key. And I want us to be cost aware and cost optimized. Cost optimized is about cost effectiveness and cost efficiency. When I mean cost efficiency is that deliver as promised. I promise $100 million project now, I deliver $100 million, yes, it's I'm cost efficient. But when I deliver less than that, I'm cost effective. And going by this time in Nigeria, when we have gotten the PIA passed, PIB passed upon PIA, cost is key. We can't go far unless we are mindful of our cost. So engineers are enjoying us to be mindful of our cost, because cost is the bigger driver today in the economy. Our projects that I'm handling in NETCO, one of them, they are good technically. But when you look at the cost, the owner is thinking very deep, can he go ahead or not? So engineers, enjoy us, let's be cost aware, let's be customized. By the time we do that, we go far on our profession. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful speech. Please, may we give him a round of applause.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, quickly, let me bring back the special guest of honor to officially declare the conference open. Let's please put our hands together as he comes back to the podium. After that, you take.
Our President, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I was not well briefed on my assignment here. Well, while wishing you a very successful conference, I hereby, on behalf of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, declare this conference open.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome. Please permit me to humbly recognize Professor Dr. MSc Haruna, the Executive Vice Chairman, National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure. You're welcome, Daddy. Please, at this juncture, at this puncture, I want to invite our Executive Secretary, Nigerian Society of Engineers, who is nobody but Engineer Dr. Okopi Alex Momo, Fellow, Nigerian Society of Engineers, to give his vote of thanks. Thank you. Please let's give him a round of applause as he comes upstairs.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are most welcome. We thank you all for honoring us today, this very, very important occasion. Mr. President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, FNSC. President, I want to specially thank you and appreciate you for your steward so far these 2 years, for putting together a new direction for NSC with the great support from your deputy, from our deputy president, Engineer Woodale. DP, we thank you immensely for your unwavering support to the president. Thank you so much. The representative or the special guest of honor, sir, we thank you so much. Chief Mike Oyadome, former Chief of Staff to President Goodluck Jonathan, and former Deputy Governor of Edo State. Sir, we thank you very much for honoring us today and for your very special message from the former president. We are very grateful to you. The representatives of the Governor of Borno State and Nasarawa State, we also thank you immensely for honoring our invitation to grace this occasion today. We are very, very grateful to you. Our Royal Father of the Day, the Sheikh of Borno, and also recipient of our very cherished honorary fellowship, sir, we thank you very, very much for honoring us and accepting our honorary fellowship. We are very grateful to you. The Executive Vice President of the the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, our past President, Engineer M.B. Shehu, past President of Federation of Engineering Organizations of Africa, we thank you very, very much for the new direction and for what you are doing for Africa. By the grace of God, come March 2022, when you'll be elected at the General Assembly of WFO in Costa Rica,
Africa will be very, very proud to have you. And as the President has said, every effort and every contribution is needed from Nigeria and Africa to make sure that this election is successful. We thank you very much for what you are doing for Africa and what you are doing for Nigeria. Our past president of Nigerian Society of Engineers, we thank you so much for your support always and for being around with us and always guiding us in all that we do. We appreciate you. ESCO members of the society, we thank you for being here and honoring this invitation and making everything successful today. We want to especially thank Madam President of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, Engineer Kalim Boshidi. We thank you very much for the new direction that you are giving to FAO. We also thank all our foreign delegates, President of AFIO. We thank you very much for being with us today. We are very, very grateful to all of you. Our own brother, the Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, we thank you, sir, for being with us always in all our programs and aligning with us in all that we do. We are very grateful to you. We want to especially also appreciate Zaitin and the Kaka Group for their support to NSC, and of course, the recipient of our award today. We also thank you for all the contributions you are making to NSC and also repositioning and focusing on engineering works in Nigeria. We appreciate you very much. Other distinguished dignitaries who have come today, our fellows, our members who have honored us from different parts of the country. It is our prayer that as you go back, the good Lord will go with you, and for honoring us, God will honor you as well. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Dr. Okopi Alex Momo. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up the program, when the Executive Secretary was presenting his goodwill message, a big masquerade in the engineering profession walked in. It's my pleasure to acknowledge the presence of the 15th President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who served as president in 1987 and 1988. It's my honor to acknowledge the presence of Engineer Ifedayo Akintunde, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow of the Academy of Engineering. And of course, Engineer Akintunde is a winner of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations Medal of Excellence, which is equivalent to the Nobel Peace Prize in Engineering. Can we put our hands together for him, please? Can we, the cameraman, please, can we show our father here? Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap it up, let's quickly announce that the election, the deadline for us to activate our membership details for the election is tomorrow 8 a.m. So if you want to participate in the election, you have to activate your information so that you can be able to receive email and SMS for the voting. And also all young engineers in the house, we want to announce that young engineers, immediately after this, their meeting will commence, I think at the Benway Hall. No, NSE headquarters. Please, it's very important. All young engineers should take note of that. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, whatever has a beginning, they say has an ending. With that, we have come to the end of the opening ceremony of the 2021 National Engineering Conference and Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. On behalf of my team, Engineer Fumi
My name is Engineer Mrs. Fumi Akingbagbo. I'm a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers.
Engineer.
My name is Engineer Okozoluchukwu Doris, member, Nigerian Society of Engineering.
Engineer Ejika Emmanuel Oshala.
I remain yours sincerely, Engineer Ben O.C. Oko, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, signing out. Can we all be on our feet for the closing prayer? Second stanza of the national anthem. Let's recite together as we say, O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen. The national anthem. Thank you very much. We take the presidential recession. Immediately after that, we come back for the plenary section. That's